Alright, so this is a tips and tricks video for Bloodlust. I saw that Conix is going for this as his new hardest, and there are just some parts that if you have a click pattern for, that just makes it so much easier. So I'm gonna be going through the level today. I saw he was looking for an LDM because the first part is very laggy, and this one by Pointer Crate is the one that I used to beat it on, and it just makes this beginning part a lot less decorated, so your frames, don't just, consistently drop. But I'm gonna be playing on the normal version for this. So this first ship, it looks impossible. It gets very consistent. So I do 3 clicks at the very beginning. It's all about a click pattern here. I go 1, 2, 3, and then the rest of it, you kind of just have to do 1 click per gap here and get yourself through. I do 1, 2, 3, and then I get myself a little oomph through here and fly up and down. It feels impossible at first, but it gets very consistent. Normal bloodbath part. This wave, it's a new part, but Conix, you're good at waves, so you'll get consistent at that. Just something you gotta learn. It does feel weird with the speed changes, but you'll get used to it. All this is the normal bloodbath gameplay. It doesn't change at all. There's not really many tips I can give for that part. Same thing for this next part. It's just a super buffed version of the last part. You can see there are some much tighter gaps, but just try and stay close to these bottom parts like you do in Bloodbath. I think it feels and plays very similarly to the part in Bloodbath. I don't think it is much harder. Just takes some ship control. This ball feels a lot easier in Bloodlust than it does in Bloodbath. None of these timings are crazy, just some late orb timings. One tip I do have, though, that a lot of people use, including myself, is if you buffer this click down here, then you get a setup on the edge of this block, and it makes this yellow orb really easy and consistent every single time. If you just buffer it right there, you'll land on the edge of this block. I think it's more consistent than going like that. And then we get to Michigan. Michigan in Bloodlust is way easier than it is in Bloodbath. Even with the moving objects, you can see the little shadow blocks here that show you where they're going to move to, so it's not super difficult to see. And the other part of, actually, I'll go back to this ball real quick. I'm not sure if people know this, but if you just line yourself up directly above the spike and click, then you survive every time. I just always line my ball up and click as soon as I'm above it, and you get through these gaps every time. And then this UFO is way easier in Bloodlust than it is in Bloodbath. And you can see, especially right here, because these spikes are smaller than they are in Bloodbath. So you pass Michigan almost every time in Bloodlust. It's a lot easier. Except for this wave. This wave is really weird. The click pattern I use, I just click in between each of these spikes, like so. So I go like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So, like that. They did not need to make Evasium this hard in Bloodlust. It is just, like, some of these gaps are kind of ridiculous. They really super buff this part a lot. Especially with this wave. It's just tight. It's just really tight. You'll die to it a lot, but eventually you kind of get used to it. I do actually have a tip for this big wave, though. I always try and set myself higher than I think I should, because it looks like you can just pass it there, but then you'll run into that spike. So I always like to set myself pretty high, especially for this portal here, because then when you drop, you don't hit these spikes here. A lot of times I'll go too early, and when I turn into the UFO, my hitbox just collides with this. So try and get yourself a high setup there. And then this click pattern is the exact same as it is in Bloodbath. So this next part looks, was it Snamtar? I think so. it looks a lot more intimidating than it actually is. Once you get a click pattern, it becomes so consistent. I'll run it in half speed. So to start off here, I do a big click to get some good trajectory going down, and then I do 2 clicks and I hit this yellow orb early. I hit it very early over here. Big click, 1, 2, and I click it early, because then you will never die to this. If you click it too late, you'll run into that sometimes. Or like if you're too low, yeah, you can run into the first part of it here. But if you click it early, you'll never run into it. So click both those orbs early, and then this flying section is it's just hard. You just gotta get consistent. I like to go 1, 2, 3, 4. So I get a setup click and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I hit this green orb early as well. Oh, hang on, I'm trash. There we go. So for the next part, fly up here. It's just you just gotta get consistent at it. It's just a lot of practice. But as your ship control develops, it becomes a lot easier. For this part, I hit the orb, and I do 1 click to get through this gap, and then I just straight fly the bottom. 1, and then I just straight fly. I hit this green orb early. If I click it too late, I get a weird setup here, and I would always run to the top spike. So I try and click it early to get a low setup, to just fling myself right over. And then this ending part is a lot harder than it looks. These spikes are not this big in the real level. The hitboxes look like this. I don't know why they look this big, but you can go like really deep into these spikes. Like, I am very deep in there. And I'm alive right now. So you can get very close to these spikes without dying. So this next UFO, it's still pretty free like in Bloodbath, but there's some slight differences, and one of them being in the first 7 clicks where you go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I use this star here as a little visual indicator for when I should start clicking. You don't fall right on top of it, but once you get like a little past it, I start clicking. 1, 2, 3. And then in Bloodbath, you can wait a decent bit here and click, but if you do that in Bloodlust, you get just a really high setup. Oh, I lived. But you usually run into this saw here. So I like to try and stay near the tops of these gears when I'm upside down. I try to stay closer to this part to get myself a good setup when I switch gravity again. I like to wait a second after this to get a very low setup. You want a low setup so you don't run into that gear over there. Like that'll happen. So I want to do 2 faster clicks, and it'll get you a good setup into here. And it's a little tighter than a Bloodbath, but still pretty manageable. You shouldn't die to this part too often. So another really intimidating part of Bloodlust is this random gameplay that they switched out. It looks super tight, but it does get very consistent. And what I did, so also these last 2 UFO clicks, I like to do a little slower to get a good setup. I go 1, 2 instead of 1, 2, or else you can die there. So I click right in the middle of this ship portal, and I position myself in this gap, and I do 2 clicks. So position 1, 2, and then these, I saw Conix was clicking these orbs very slow, and that just can make you skip this platform, which makes this click so much harder. So I always like to And also you can see with hitboxes, there are pink orbs like all over here. It's not just these 3. So I had to go 1, 2, and then I click these 2 really fast. So like this. 1, 2. And it gives you a good setup to land on this platform. And you land on this platform every time. And this click, it looks so tight, but this platform gives you such a good trajectory. You just gotta click once in the middle, and you'll get a good setup for this orb. Click. And then you get sent right up into here. And for this ship part, I do 1 big click to get myself lined up with this straight fly. 1, and I do 3 small clicks. 1, 1, 2, 3. And I do that click starting once I just get past these spikes. And so the full part, hopefully I do it first try, will look like this. And it gets really consistent if you follow that click pattern. And then this swing copter, it's really stupid. It's when this kills you, it feels like you just get like edged. Like you're right about to get to Edster, and then this just kills you. There aren't many tips I can give for this. One good one I have is if you click a bit after you get past these, like right around here, then it gives you a pretty good setup over here. But this swing copter is just, you just gotta brute force muscle memory. But you eventually get past it. Yeah, it is really tight for no reason. Make sure to hold. There is a little spike here, so make sure to hold in the auto part. The first part is just normal Etzer. Nothing's different. So this ship part, we can already see a pretty significant buff with this spike coming down right here. I do 2 clicks here. So I do 1 click down here to get myself just under this spike, and I do another click to get myself down into the safety zone. Like that, and I just drop right down in there. So go 1, 2, and you'll land right down in there. Works every time. I do 1 click to set myself in this portal. So I go 1, and then I just start straight flying until I get to this portal. This part right here is a lot easier compared to Bloodbath. It's not a super hard dip down. Like the hitboxes are super easy to avoid here. So these gravity portals, there is a good click pattern to get a consistent setup every single time. And you do 1 click, 1 setup click for this portal, and you give it a bit of oomph to make it to this portal, and then you do 2 clicks. So I'll go 1, 1, 2, and you survive every time. 1, oh, it's a weird setup. Just like that. 1, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2. And this ball is a bit harder than in Bloodbath. Especially right down here with these blue orbs. You have to hit this pretty late. And then there's 2 different ways to do this next part. So the way that I did it was I buffer off of Havoc's name here. So you can hold there and then hit that yellow orb. Some people don't like doing that because it makes you go a bit more forward, but I thought it gave me a consistent setup in the UFO every time, as opposed to just going for the orbs, because then it, you sometimes get like a weird setup. But the click pattern for this UFO, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, wait on that 3rd click. You kind of want to click right when you hit the speed portal. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2. And this wave, it just gets consistent. Do 1 click to get that portal. This ship part is no different than in Bloodbath. Same thing with this duel. So this ending part has some... It definitely has some tricky parts. So one thing, this orb is a lot more dumb than it looks. It's super close to the ground here. And so in Bloodbath, you can really click it in the middle, but you can't in Bloodlust. So I like to wait a bit on this platform as opposed to just clicking right away there, because it just makes this click a lot less of a timing. So I just give it 1 second so I can hit that orb just a little earlier, so I'm not about to run into the ground. This killed me a couple times from 0, and it sucks every time you do. The rest of this is just standard Bloodbath gameplay. So the Michigan route here is a buffer, unlike Bloodbath. Bloodbath is impossible for some reason. But for this part, it is just a buffer. So you just hold. And then the visual indicator for this triple is right at the edge of this light bar here. If you click it right at the edge there, every time your cube hits it, you will pass the triple every time. Just like that. So just treat it as if the spikes are starting like right after this platform, and click right at this light, where this light ends. So now the extension, really intimidating when you're first going for it, but it gets super consistent, and this is my favorite part of the level. Well, a lot of people would not agree with that, but it does get consistent. So these first ship clicks, you just want to give yourself a bit of oomph to go through here, just a small click right before them, and then you want to hit this green orb early, and you want to give it quite a bit of oomph. You don't want to be too low, so you don't want to give yourself too much here, or else it's really hard to get over. Like I'm grazing that spike. So you really only need a small click to get through there, and then you want to click this green orb pretty early to get yourself over this big spike. Hold the blue orb, and then click right before the robot part. So this robot click, it looks so hard. I promise it gets consistent. So the place that I always click is right at the top of the orb, like right around here. And it sets me up perfectly every single time. You have to get used to how far to jump with the robot, but as soon as you can get consistently like right on top of that orb, it is really easy. And then those two robot clicks, they're just awkward. You gotta get used to how that feels. But if you just hit it right on top of the orb, you pass it every time. These green orbs, just hit them late. You can buffer this first one, and then hit that second one late. Actually, I wouldn't buffer it, because then you can actually hit this spike, so I would time both of them just right in the middle. Like as soon as you hit the middle of them, just click. Do 1, 2, 3, and then you are in this wave part. Now, yeah, it's a little stupid at the end here. You have to be set up low, or else this orb doesn't work. You will die every time. So you have to get a low setup. It's not as hard as it looks, even from 0. You get really consistent at just aiming low in that part. And then you just want to click as late as you can down here. Not a super hard timing once you get used to it. You just got to click really late. And then for this UFO, you want to click until you hit at the bottom of this portal here. Kind of like right in between this little torch and these black lines. You want to just click right in between. So time that. And then you go 1, 2, 3 really fast. 1, 2, 3. And it sets you up perfectly for these orbs. 1, 2, 3. And then this ball part looks really tight, but it gets really consistent. There's not super intricate timings. Just click all the clicks. You know what I mean? So for Zaro's part, these This is better done with a click pattern. I like to do one click per portal. So for this one, I saw Conix, we were doing like 2 clicks, and that feels really weird because the gravity is like super strong in this part. I don't know why. But I like to do one strong click at this portal, and that's all you need to hit this orb in this portal. So I do one strong click, and then 2 clicks in this part, and then I hold to hit these orbs. And I hold right into the middle of the portal. You can sometimes fly too high, so don't hold all the way, but let go just before the portal and you should get a good setup right in the middle. And then these 2 are buffers. Thank God these are buffers. And then once again, I do one click, 1, 2. These orbs are weird. You just gotta get used to the timing of them. You'll build it up. You'll build it up through muscle memory. And then there's 2 different ways to do these 3 orbs. These yellow orbs and this green orb. You can either hit them right away and then hit this green orb late. That's what I did. I got a really good setup for this straight fly like that. Or some people, they like to time these yellow orbs so they can buffer that green orb and then into the straight fly. I felt like buffering it gave me a different setup every time, so I liked clicking. I like buffering those yellow orbs and then timing the green orb. And then I do 3 clicks in this ship part. So let's see if I can do the whole part. So now we get to this corridor part, and another part that just feels really awkward at first, that gets really consistent to play after a while. This part just looks so cool in my opinion. So for this ship part here, I just do 2 taps, 1, 2, and then the rest of these are just timings. So for this UFO, you want to try and click this later rather than earlier, or else the ship you get a really weird setup for. Like you'll go like low like that. In my completion, that's what I did, and I was so close to dying. Like I was panic clicking. So you want to try and hit it later, so your ship has just a lot better setup. And you just straight fly through the end. So this next part gets really consistent, except for 1 click. And it's this click right here. This 86% click is really hard. You gotta really focus on clicking it later than you think. Always be thinking late. It is unforgiving. It is very unforgiving. So try and click it late. And then these orbs, you had it right. There's pink, blue, pink, green. And then there's actually 2 different ways to do this wave. So you can either hold, like here, and you just completely skip this gap. So you can just hold, and then just drop down right there. Or I just did the normal way where, you go through there. These waves get really consistent. This entire ending really does. These gaps look really tight, but through practice you'll get really used to it. This ball looks impossible, but a decent visual indicator is right at this shape right here where it turns like bright red. These 2 little lines, if you click right in between them, you always make that gap. And then this ship part, I like to click these orbs a little late, and then you can just hold in the ship. I don't like to click them right away because then you can just hit stuff like that, or like you can hit the spike like that. So try and time them a little bit, and then you get through the straight fly. Now, this ending part looks super intimidating, but it is so consistent. It's very chokeable from 0, but how to do this first part, because this spike just juts out. There's a couple ways to do it. I see people, they bonk their head on the top here. That was kind of inconsistent for me. I didn't really like doing that. I'll play this part at normal speed. I just like doing 2 clicks, I get over this spike, and then I just send myself up right into this portal. Because the spike doesn't really come until you're kind of past it. So you don't really have to worry about hitting it too much, because like it's gonna come after I pass it. So I go 1, 2, and then I go 1, 2 for this downward part, and then I bonk my head right here. I hit my head so I can stabilize myself for this little straight fly. It is really inconsistent if you just try and fly through it, and under nerves that part is just it's just not gonna happen. So try and bonk your head, and then recorrect yourself and do 3 clicks in the straight fly. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. These UFOs look really tight, but they get really consistent. You just wait a second here. Holy. So this wave, there's actually 2 ways to do it. You will see that these hitboxes are not real up here. So what you can do is you can just go above that spike. I see a lot of people do that in completions. It's easier for some people. I like just going the normal way, but if you want to go above that spike, always can. So this mini wave part, it's weird. Some people, they do like to do the 2 clicks up here, but that can be hard because if you get through this UFO, you want to try and hit the very bottom part of this portal. Otherwise, you will just die to this top spike. So I liked doing 1 click. I felt like it gave me a much better setup. You do get very close to those spikes up here, though. Like, you basically graze them. But you can do it either way. Just make sure you're getting a low setup in that portal. Click all these orbs late. And then this ending triple, I think, blends into the foreground a lot. I ended up dying here from 0 because I just mistimed where the triple would be. But there is a little, if you jump around here, like a little after you start going, this little text appears above it, which I think makes it way easier to see and a lot easier to survive. So I get past the straight fly, I jump, and then you can very easily see where the triple is. So if you want to click that, I recommend it. So yeah, that is Bloodlust. It is super intimidating at first, but it gets really consistent. Practice the extension a lot. The extension will get really consistent. It's not as hard as it looks. It gets yeah, it just gets very consistent with more time. This level is going to teach you a lot about ship control, timings, nerve control, consistency. It's a long level, so controlling your nerves is definitely a big key, but that's why you got to practice that extension. Just practice the end. Yeah. I hope that this video was actually helpful for some people. Conix, if you see this, then I wish you luck on Bloodlust. It's a super rewarding level to beat, so yeah, I'm excited to see your journey on it. Thank you for watching.